Some of these crusaders, fired up by old prejudices and talk of holy war, attacked local Jewish communities, slaughtering around 5,000 men, women and children.
What did they do? We are back again. We're back again. First Crusade. Epic History TV.
In the Middle Ages, Europe and the Middle East were divided between Christian states, or Christendom, and Muslim states. They were uneasy neighbors and frequently at war.
Uneasy.
On the front line, the Eastern
Uneasy.
Roman or Byzantine
Uneasy. That's quite the understatement.
Empire, the major Christian power in the Eastern Mediterranean.
It's the Eastern Roman Empire, not Byzantine Empire.
Emerged,
I hate when people say Byzantine Empire.
The Seljuk Turks, originally from Central Asia, migrated south, converted to Sunni Islam, and carved out a great empire for themselves.
How did they convert to Islam? How did they convert to Islam? If they conquer like all of this, because usually, right, like whenever like someone like conquers a region or makes an empire, usually what happens is that they bring their religion and their culture with them. But it's interesting, how did the Seljuk Turks convert to Islam? Because technically they were the ones who conquered the Islamic regions, right? I don't think these Seljuk Turks were originally Islamic. No. He just said that they converted. So I would like for someone to explain that to me. Let's continue.
In 1071, at the Battle of Manzikert, the Seljuk Turks inflicted a crushing defeat on the Byzantine Empire. They went on to conquer most of Anatolia. Cities such as Nicaea and Antioch, rich in Christian history, fell to the Seljuk Turks.
I've heard of these cities, but I don't know much about these cities.
Sultan Malik Shah died.
What's so great about those cities?
The empire began to fragment. The Byzantine Empire came under renewed attack as local warlords sought territory and plunder. In 1095, Byzantine Emperor Alexios I Komnenos wrote to Pope Urban
That
II,
sounds like a Russian name.
a desperate appeal for military aid from his...
That sounds like a Russian name, Alexios. Oh yeah. Is that because Russia has like a bunch of like inspiration from the Eastern Roman Empire, I think, right? You know, the more that I think about it, the more that I realize like in the West / like the US, we always talk about, oh yeah, England has so much Latin influence and whatnot, but I feel like a foreign language that really and truly is like extremely Latinized in the source would be Russian. When you think about it, even now that I think about it, even the names, like I didn't even realize that so many Russian names were like from Eastern Roman Empire origin / Latin origin, which is pretty cool.
His fellow Christians in the West. It wasn't the first such appeal by the emperor, but this time the results would be unlike anything ever seen before.
That's Volta.
Pope Urban saw the emperor's appeal as a golden opportunity, a chance to heal the rift that had emerged between Western and Eastern churches in the Great Schism.
Oh yeah.
To assert his own papal authority over
I've heard of this, but
barons and
how
bishops
did that
of
unfold?
Western Christendom.
Okay.
And to drive back the infidel and reclaim Christianity's most holy sites, most of all Jerusalem, lost to Muslim rule 400 years before.
400 years, damn. Since
At Clermont,
wow.
France, Pope Urban preached a sermon to a gathering of clergy and nobles. He called on Christian knights and foot soldiers to go east, to aid their brother Christians and free Jerusalem from Muslim rule. And he offered
the irony. It is so ironic because even within Christianity, there's so much infighting. It's so ironic. Even within Islam, there's so much infighting. It's just so freaking ironic.
Incentive. Whoever, for devotion alone, not to gain honor or money, goes to Jerusalem to liberate the Church of God, can substitute this journey for all penance.
What does that mean?
He was offering Europe's knights, who lived in fear of damnation because of the violent lives they led, the chance to atone for their sins.
Okay.
What's more, their objective, Jerusalem,
Interesting.
was a city that captivated.
The fact that people actually responded to that, wow, goes to show you the type of lives people lived back then. When people actually responded to that call just so that they can repent. Wow, that is wild to me.
The medieval imagination like no other. The most holy place on earth. The Pope's offer exhilarated his audience. His words were met with cries of Deus vult, Deus vult. God wills it.
Bro,
God
what
wills
do you
it.
do in your life that you would go on a
Pope's
whole
appeal was
crusade
preached
just for
across Europe,
repentance, bruh?
sparking a wave of religious fervor. Thousands of lords, knights, and ordinary people vowed to travel to the Holy Land and fight for Christ.
And that is how we got that's how the English flag, well, kind of, sort of, the English flag, well, it wasn't like a Crusader flag, but that's how we got like the origins of like the English flag, if I'm not mistaken, which is how I got my YouTube channel logo, because the flag of England, most countries that were former Commonwealth realms / dominions, typically, at least I know that most of the Commonwealth Caribbean, like, they still use the St. George's flag on their naval ensign, right? Even the countries that are republics, but most of the Commonwealth Caribbean, they're either still like, they're still in a personal union, meaning that they still share the same monarch, but only like few are republics, right? Like my country, which recently just became a republic, but we still use the St. George's flag on our ensign, right? Which is pretty cool, which is how I got my YouTube channel logo, because I said in my last reaction that I didn't even know what to put on my YouTube channel logo, but I was like, oh wait, I know what to put. I'm gonna put this because this perfectly represents, like, you know, what my channel is about. And it's very neat. And if you're wondering, yes, Barbados is a very Christian society, extremely. Well, I think it dwindled down over the years because of the newer generation, but the older generation, oh my goodness, they were like Crusader level of Christian, alright? I'm not exaggerating, man. Especially in places like St. Lucia. Oh my gosh, they were like Crusader level of Christian, my dude. Like, seriously. Like, that's how wild it is. I'm talking Salem witch trials level of, guys. They believe in that, like, witchcraft, all of that, guys. Oh my gosh, dude. I can say so much here, but I don't want to like ramble on for like too long. But yeah.
They identified themselves by wearing a cross, later becoming known as Cruce Signatus, Crusaders. A few of these
That's
men
a
saw
lit name.
opportunity in the east for fame and fortune, but overwhelmingly they went in search of spiritual salvation, willing to undertake a long, expensive and perilous journey to save their souls from the fires of hell.
I respect that. 100%. The People's Crusade. I've heard of this.
Pope Urban had intended the crusade to be led by nobles and made up of knights and experienced soldiers.
Right, makes sense.
But the viral success of his appeal led thousands of ordinary townsfolk and peasants to take the cross, many inspired by a French priest known as Peter the Hermit, who became leader of this so-called People's Crusade.
How did his message, how did his message spread? Wouldn't it take a while? I always wondered this, when messages and speeches go viral, how long would that take? Right? How long would that take? Because by the time he's done and his message spreads, he's doing something else, right? And other people are just now reacting to that. How would that whole process go down? It just never really made sense to me. You know what I mean, man? Let's continue.
The Rhineland, some of these crusaders, fired up by old prejudices and talk of holy war, attacked local Jewish communities, slaughtering around 5,000 men, women and children.
What did they do? What did they do? This is so out of pocket. Why are you attacking them? What, bro?
And extorting money from those they spared. These massacres were condemned by the church, but to little effect.
I mean, that's sad, but that's still kind of funny. Because, they're
in the summer
they're not even Islamic.
The People's Crusade.
Not that I'm saying that you should go and attack, Islamic people. Randomly, I'm just saying that this just had nothing to do with what the Crusades is about. What in the world?
20 to 40,000 strong, made its way east. The main contingent, led by Peter the Hermit, traveled along the river Danube.
Cologne is almost 1,000 years old.
Poorly prepared.
Wow, I didn't realize how old Cologne was.
In Hungary, they attacked and looted Christian settlements.
Hungary, get it? They ran out of food in Hungary, so they went hungry. Okay, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna start with my dad jokes. Okay, I'm sorry. I just had to, because it's just they went too hungry, so they went hungry. Come on. That was a good joke. That was a good joke. I know it is. I don't care what you say. That was a good joke.
They continued to pillage the land of their supposed ally, the Byzantine Empire. When they reached Constantinople, the emperor quickly ferried them to Anatolia to be rid of them. In enemy territory, lacking discipline or leadership, their main force was soon ambushed and slaughtered by the Turks. Rip.
I don't know if I should feel bad for these guys. Nah, I don't feel bad for them.
Some of Europe's most powerful feudal lords were departing for the Holy Land at the head of their own.
I love that drip. Look at that drip.
They were much better armed.
Look at that drip. Oh yeah, love that.
And organized than the disastrous People's Crusade. They included, from Lorraine, Godfrey of Bouillon, with his brothers Eustace and Baldwin of Boulogne. Hugh of Vermandois, younger brother of the French king. Count Robert of Flanders, and Duke Robert of Normandy.
That's a lot.
Son of William the Conqueror.
That's a lot of Crusaders.
The wealthy Stephen of Blois.
Okay.
From Provence, Count Raymond of Toulouse, accompanied by the Crusades' spiritual leader, papal legate Adhemar of Le Puy. And from southern Italy, Norman lords Bohemond of Taranto and his nephew Tancred. The various contingents converged for their agreed rendezvous at Constantinople.
That's a big army.
Together, they formed a huge army, perhaps 60,000 strong. Probably the largest seen in Europe since the fall of the Western Roman Empire.
Holy moly!
The Byzantine
60,000?
Emperor Alexios had expected to welcome a small force.
Like I said, bro, this is what I mean, dude. Like, how did the message? Because you know the message obviously spread, but like, how long would that take? Like, how did they organize all of this, right? Because you know we have instant communication today, so they don't have instant communication. Wouldn't this take like, I don't know, a week, 2 weeks for them to finally get the message? And even then, they're in like different regions of Europe at the time, so it would take longer for each of them to finally receive the message and finally like interpret the message. So I'm like asking, like, how does that work? Like, how did they organize so well like this, right? Like, how long did all of that take? It's very impressive that they were able to even organize and you know have like proper communications with messages taking that long. You know what I mean? Like it blows my mind thinking about it like right now. Let's continue.
Of Western mercenaries who'd serve under Byzantine command. But the giant Crusader force that began arriving in December 1096 made him nervous and distrustful, particularly the presence of Bohemond of Taranto, who'd spent much of his life attacking the Byzantine Empire. Alexios gave the Crusaders money, supplies, and guides.
This is literally why I said it's so ironic, because Christians are always fighting Christians, like... Let's continue.
Only after their leaders swore oaths of fealty and promised to return all Byzantine territory to the emperor, not keep it for themselves. Only then
that means nothing.
Across the
that means absolutely nothing.
To Anatolia.
That means nothing, dude. I've watched so much like historical stuff at this point to know that just because you say that, hey, I'm not gonna do this, does not mean that you won't do it. Like, dude, that means nothing. Just because you say I'm not gonna do this, that means absolutely nothing, y'all. Like, come on now. Like, they can literally just go take the territory, create their own states, and then what can you do? Absolutely nothing. So no, just because they say I'm not gonna do it, that means no. Okay, let's continue.
The Crusaders were a mighty military force, particularly the armoured knights, who made up about a sixth of their strength. But they'd have to adapt rapidly to the heat, terrain, and hit-and-run tactics of their Turkish enemy. In their favour, the Islamic world and the great Seljuk Empire itself was badly divided. Its Turkish
typical Islam
Atabegs were busy.
You know what I always find hilarious about the Islamic world, right? They always say, oh, we need to be one. Like the Arab world, for example, right? The Arab world, like, you know how many times I've heard of like pan-Arabism? And that has gone absolutely nowhere, because always there's always people vying for power. And that kind of shows you something, doesn't it? Like it really goes to show you like a lot. I don't want to say too much because I don't want YouTube to smack my channel down, but just think about that. They're always saying, oh, we should be one, pan-Arabism, we need to be one, yada yada yada. But every time they try to be one, they try to be united, it goes nowhere. and I just find that hilarious. I don't know. I feel like Arabs can be. I wouldn't say like Islamic people, because Islamic people is basically saying that everyone that practices like Islam. But I feel like Arabic people, and I said this about Polish people, but they can be a bit like snobby when it comes to like their history. I mean, bro, look, Arab history is solid, okay? Like, Arab history is solid, all right? Like, Middle Eastern history is solid, okay? That whole region has a solid history. I said this about Poland and Polish history. I have nothing against Poland or nothing against Polish people, but just like Arab people, they can be a bit too snobby about their history, right? That's just my personal opinion. I'm not really saying that as an insult. It's just something that I've like noticed. You know what I mean? Let's continue.
Fighting each other, as well as the Shia Fatimids of Egypt. None of them was prepared for the First Crusade, or had any real understanding of its strength or aims.
And the size of that army, man. 60,000 in 1097. Dorulium. I don't know how to pronounce that word.
Crusaders' first success came at Nicaea, which fell after a 6-week siege.
That's a very nice name. Get it? Because it's Nicaea. You know, it's a nice name. Get it? It's a nice name. Sorry. I'm gonna stop with my dad joke.
But the city surrendered to the Byzantine forces, cheating the Crusaders, as they saw it, of their rightful plunder. It was a further strain on the delicate relations between Crusaders and Byzantines.
It's impressive how this relationship even lasted like this long.
Inland, through intense summer heat, in 2 columns. A vanguard under Bohemond of Taranto, and rear guard under Godfrey of Bouillon. Near Dorylaeum, Bohemond's vanguard was ambushed by the main Turkish army.
Alright, Dorylaeum. That's how you pronounce that word. Ooh, epic history zooming in. Okay, that means that it's getting good. If epic history zooms in, that means that it's getting good.
This is our best understanding of how the confused fighting unfolded. Bohemond, seeing he was about to be attacked by a large force of enemy cavalry, sent an urgent message to the rearguard, asking for assistance. Then he formed up his knights and ordered his infantry into a defensive formation behind them, protecting the camp followers.
Okay.
The Crusaders,
but your back is against the river.
All sides, facing a hail of arrows from Turkish horse archers, as well as javelins and hit-and-run strikes from their faster light cavalry.
Mongol tactics.
The knights were driven back onto their own infantry. Over several hours, losses mounted, but the Crusader line held.
Wow, impressive. I don't like the fact that their backs are facing, like, you don't want your backs facing the river, dude. Like, that's...
Godfrey was racing up with the rear guard to join the battle.
That's not a good... Oh wait, reinforcements.
Fighting as soon as they arrived. On the Turks' left flank, the Crusader advance was hidden by the terrain, so that they appeared suddenly, threatening the Turks with encirclement.
How in the world? What type of terrain is this?
All charged together. The Turks panicked, turned, and fled.
Bro, what type of terrain is this that you can't see? I thought this was supposed to be flat.
It was a major victory for the Crusaders, and allowed them to continue their advance across Anatolia without serious opposition.
Wait, is that how armies, like, back then? Freaking hell. Freaking here is itching me. But no, is that how armies back then worked? Like, because I'm watching Alexander the Great by Epic History TV reaction. Check it out after this video. But, and I noticed that with these armies, they typically fight, like, one big battle, and whoever wins, they just completely just walk through, it's just like a cakewalk afterwards until the army like revamps its forces, replenishes its forces, right? Because when Alexander fought Darius and he won, he literally just walked through half of the Persian Empire like willy-nilly, until Darius came back. But is that how like armies like fought back then? Because now we have like front lines and whatnot. Very interesting. Extremely interesting. Very interesting. Let's continue.
At Heraclea, they defeated a small Turkish force, then split up. The main force struggled through the mountains of Cappadocia, losing many of their baggage animals and running dangerously low on supplies.
It's a bad idea. Why would you split up your army? I don't like that idea.
Baldwin of Boulogne and Tancred, probably out to seize land and plunder for themselves, travelled south into Cilicia, capturing the city of Tarsus and other settlements. Tancred later rejoined the main army.
Right.
But Baldwin was invited by local Armenian Christians to travel to Edessa, where he was soon installed as
Bro, I thought you said Odessa.
Ruler of the First Crusader state.
Dude, I swore he said Odessa, not
October
Edessa.
1097, the rest of the Crusaders reached Antioch, the next stepping stone on the road to Jerusalem.
Alright.
But outside its walls, the First Crusade would come to the brink of disaster, decimated by disease and starvation, and encircled by their enemies. It would take a miracle to save them from annihilation. Research and artwork for this video.
So that was a very interesting video. Nothing too crazy, nothing too epic. I think this was like one of the Epic History's old videos. This was from like 8 years ago. It's crazy how old Epic History truly is. I can't believe this guy has been doing this for 8 years, man. Freaking dude, I would love to buy like these books, man. I would really love to buy historical books and read them, but right now I am poor. Anyways, check out my Patreon if you want to. If not, make sure to like the video. It helps me a lot, guys. My channel is finally on shadow banned with the help of you guys who are liking, who are commenting. My channel is finally on shadow ban. Let's keep that momentum going, right? So that YouTube can promote my videos to other people just like you all. Because I'm trying to build like a small community of, people who like history just like me, where we could like discuss on this and whatnot, guys. It's a small little neat community, and it's slowly but surely, coming together, sort of. But that shadow ban was really holding me back, but I still kept uploading, and because of that shadow ban now being gone, I could finally react to the suggestions that you guys have been suggesting me to do, which I've been holding back because I didn't want to like waste videos that YouTube like wouldn't promote during that shadow ban period, right? So keep liking, keep commenting, so that the algorithm sees that, okay, yeah, people do like my videos, people love watching my videos, so that it can keep promoting it, so that YouTube doesn't like shadow ban me again, because I was shadow banned. Believe me, I was, like, I actually was. I'm pretty sure if you go on my channel and you like look at my video views, you'll like see the period where I was shadow banned. I was getting like no freaking views despite everything that I did. But yeah, man, make sure to hit that thumbs up. Subscribe if you're new. Check out my other videos if you like my reactions, man. Until next time, stay tuned.